that they have to work on. And through that work, they're going to see success, just like anything else. If you want to get good at cooking, you have to apply yourself. But in this one unique space, effort sometimes for people almost equals their lessening chances of success. That's not the case at all. The more that you try and apply yourself, the better your results will be. And then you'll get to a place where you will become your own intimacy expert and inspire others to do the same. I always say this about sex and relationships. This is not a space where there should be 5 people in this world who are go-tos, and that it should be hard to qualify yourself in this way, because we are all born to bond. We are all people who are put on this planet to love and are capable of loving and are born sexual. So why would you not want to have a handle on that? Why would you not want to feel like I completely know how to handle this part of who I am? And especially if you're somebody who watches my channel, that to me means you're probably already the go-to person in your group of friends. You're probably already the one that people lean on for support. And I want to continue to amplify the work that you are doing by providing you with resources and tools. I'm a part of several professional boards. Like, that's my job on the boards. They know they don't come to me for like research-based questions. They come to me when they're like, we've made a quiz to help people assess if they're in a toxic relationship. Can you review it to make sure that your audience can digest it? Because they know that you guys are the information spreaders. Like, that is what I'm known for. I'm known for having a community of people who are smart and fascinating and thought leaders. This webinar's got 3 main objectives, the 3 secrets. So each of the things I'm going to teach you are not going to be impactful unless you do these 3 things with it. It is very difficult to adopt new mindsets or adopt new strategies just by listening alone. If you look at any pyramid scheme of how the brain actually absorbs information, at the top to gain the least amount is listening. Just listening, you're going to get a fraction of it, which is why I urge you to not just listen to today. Also practice as soon as you get off this call, and then expand. Look for materials to help you then expand and teach. So majority of the work that I do only fits into the learn bracket, right? I make a video, you learn from it. I write a book, you read it, you learn from it. Where I am at now with my business, though, is I want to help you practice and expand. I want to have a more hands-on role in your life so that people who truly want the information to sink in and make an impact for them get more guidance. There's a really big difference between wanting to do something and knowing how to get to that something goal. So I think one of the holes in what I've been doing all along is, while yes, you can listen and hear great things, if you don't really know how to apply it, it doesn't have the same impact. So I want you to keep in mind that today, if you can try to find words and ways, but we'll strategize together to not just listen, but also practice and then expand. Stay until the end, and I'll tell you all about Desire You. That's a weird face of mine, but it's my excitement. If you stay till the end, I'll tell you about Desire You, which is, again, a new part of my business strategy where it's more one-to-one, it's more interactions like these, and I'm actually going to be step-by-step walking you through things, reading and looking at your work so that you're not just entering into a vacuum, and that's what Desire You is going to be all about, and at the end, I will tell you more about it. But first, you're in the right place. I want to assure you that first and foremost, there are 173 people here. That is friggin' mind-blowing to me. 173 people who are saying, despite the fact that we live in a world that promotes the idea that relationships are a distraction to a prosperous life, that sex is a negative thing that needs to be controlled and suppressed until, of course, you get married, then have sex all the time. Despite the fact that there's these really toxic messagings around this space, you are showing up and saying, no, I don't believe that. This can be a healthy, vibrant part of my life, and I want to learn more about it. So if you are here and you're single, thank you for coming, because you want to ensure your next relationship is your best. If you are here and you're in a relationship, thank you for coming, because you are passionate about optimizing it. If you are here just because you love learning about love and you want to be the go-to voice for your group or your generation, thank you. You are in the right place. I am with you, and I'm really, really grateful for your time. All right, so we already did where are you from, but I would love to see from people in this community, what do you do for a living? I think that there's so many incredible thought leaders that, again, are attracted to me, and I'm always impressed by that. So let me know, what do you do for a living? Selena is a travel agent. Oh, we've got somebody who's a psychology student. I'm actually just starting school for that. We have Darcel, digital creator. We have a student. We've got an RN. We have a lash technician, a business researcher, a naturopathic doctor. I actually had a naturopathic doctor on one of my videos recently, Dr. Rishma. A psychology student. We've got a teacher, fellow at a nonprofit, consumer marketing, and marketing accountant. There's a lot of psychology students in here. Shout out to you. I'm a high school senior. Oh my goodness, baby's getting it in advance. I love it. STEM and aspiring coach, public health specialist, currently unemployed, but open to all possibilities, high school senior, beauty consultant, digital and marketing consultant for architects, IT consultant. You know what? Before this chat ends, I would love for you all to scroll up. Student at UConn. Okay, fancy you. Read through this just to see who else is in here who you can collaborate with. Once again, like, we are such a powerful community, and when we collaborate together, we can do incredible things. I use my community for everything. So if you are in need of peer support, accountability support, or people to partner with, I strongly encourage you to scroll up through the chat and start maybe a private conversation with someone, because there are some crazy ass fucking killer people in this chat room. I promise you that. Case manager, and same, trying to build in the community where I can just call my people to get my needs met. I love that. Advocate for victims of domestic violence. Ellie, thank you for the work that you do. That's beautiful. All right, whatever your motivation is, I'm with you. I'm grateful for you. I'm devoted to your success. You are 181 people who said, yo, this is how I want to spend an hour on my Sunday, and I want to make it as best as possible for you. So whether we're only together for the next 50 minutes or you choose to continue to work with me through the desire you experience, I want to give whatever I possibly can to make this impactful for you. So use the chat section for that, especially if you want to make sure that your comment gets seen. Maybe even flag it by saying Gwen at the beginning so that she can make sure to pick up on it. Because we really want to ensure that if you've got something pressing that you feel really needs to be addressed, that we do that for you. All right, just to get our minds into the right space right now, I want everybody to imagine what it would feel like to love every inch of your love life, to feel like your relationships are your greatest accomplishment. I can honestly say that I only got to this space probably this year. I think my love life, maybe since I have met my partner, but family relationships and friendships and my work relationships, like just really feeling like the people who I choose to pour myself into, I pour the best of me into, and I get the best out in return. So I just want you to enter that into your mind space. What would that feel like for you, and how far are you willing to go to get that feeling and keep it for a lifetime? Selena, I can't even imagine that right now. Well, you can. I think that's the gift of human beings, is that we have the ability to picture. That's what makes our imagination is what separates us from our animal friends. The fact that we can put together things that don't exist yet. Like, you can imagine an outfit before you ever put it on before, because you can piece together what those things would look like and how they would pair together on your body. So yes, you absolutely can imagine that. And I want you to challenge yourself to take some quiet time today to put yourself in a space to do just that, because that is your gift. That is your superpower. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from today, it's that intimacy does not have to be hard, painful, or beyond your control. Yes, it takes work, but work doesn't have to be negative, right? Like, that's that joke of like working hard or hardly working. And I think that being great at intimacy is a balance of both. You work hard, but you're kind of hardly working, because you benefit every step of the way. And I use the comparison often of like weight loss. Sometimes if you feel like you have to lose 400 pounds, that number just sounds so overwhelming. And for a lot of people, it stops them from even starting. They get to the space like, I can't, 400 pounds is so much. But in truth, you're actually going to start to see the positive impact of that weight loss at 5 pounds. You're going to start to feel better and more healthier and more vibrant in 7 pounds. So the 400 pounds is the ultimate goal, but every step along the way, you're going to feel joyfulness. And there might be some growing pains. It might be uncomfortable, but I promise you that no matter how far you think the ideal love life is away, the steps towards getting it are going to be just as fun as the actual experience of attaining all that you desire. All right, so there's 3 common fears associated with desire that I want to address before we get into the 3 secrets. Number 1 fear is no one will be able to give me what I desire. And that is I just don't think that there's the right person out there for me, whether that be family, friends, or a lover, etc. then there's no one will desire what I want to give. You know, you have all this love and great intentions out there, but you don't know if there's going to be somebody open to receiving that in the way that you envision. And finally, I don't know what I desire or what I have to offer. And I want to say to you that if you have any of these fears and any of these ring true for you, that's okay. We're not trying to dispel these fears. I'm not going to tell you to ignore them or that you're wrong or that you're invalid, because it is an honest to goodness truth. And I think that, again, when we live in a world that places so little emphasis on intimacy education, it is very probable that a lot of people don't know what they're doing. If you've never had an educational experience that has taught you, if you don't have parents who guided you through it, if you didn't have the opportunity or the privilege to seek out guides and knowledge and books on your own, why would you get it right? Why would it be perfect? And so if any of these ring true for you, we're going to work on it, because confidence is not a choice. It is a result. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, just choose to think differently. Just choose to be optimistic. You can't just choose to not burn rice. You have to understand what the exact strategy is, how long the rice should be in the pan, how long the water should be boiling first. You need a step-by-step system. You can't just choose to do amazing winged eyeliner. You have to practice. You have to get the right materials. You need a guide, and you have to do it in a low-risk environment. So I'm not asking you to just choose to be more optimistic about love. I'm asking you to work with me step by step, brick by brick, so that we can get there, and that can be the result. So now we're going to dive into the 3 secrets to getting confidence and control in your love life. Before we press forward, is there any questions that I have missed that we want to jump out at? The 3rd speaks to me. I've been trying that myself more lately. Laura, I totally understand. Raven, fake it until you make it. I have such mixed emotions with that. Like, on one hand, I totally get it. On the other hand, it's just better to go a little slower and become things along the way. I have, like, we can go into it about that, but I like the sentiment that's trying to push. I can definitely relate to the 2 fears. Alex, I've been there, in both grandiose and insecure at the same time. 100%. I can't hear anything. Shamara, maybe Gwen can help you out with that. Confidence fluctuates. Yes, confidence is not a destination. It is a journey. And like anything else in life, you might be confident in your ability to make money, and then the market changes, and now you have to re-educate yourself to master a new landscape. So you should never take confidence for granted. And once again, confidence is not a choice. Oh, Kurt. All right, so secret number 1 to getting the love life that you desire, to getting confidence and control, is you have to admit that you don't know shit, even though you know your shit. Let me explain. The key to a successful and minimally stressful love life is to remain a tourist, not a tour guide. In this space, the more that you learn, the more you understand that there is such incredibly beautiful, diverse ways that people like to express their intimate side, their intimate needs, for better or for worse. And so once you have that understanding that there is no one size fits all approach, you cannot enter into any relationship or any conversation with assumptions. You always have to go in with curiosity. Some people say to me, like, how are men not intimidated to have sex with you because you have all this knowledge? Like, I do not enter into a intimate setting with somebody and say, like, I'm going to take you through my 5-phase strategy to getting the best nut of your life. Like, that's fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this person likes, and I'm not there to show off all my tricks. I'm there to be curious. I'm there to be a tourist and say, this is your body. Show me around. What do you like? What is your jam? And even though I know a lot, I admit that with every new encounter, I'm completely green, and I allow somebody else to be the expert and the guide on themselves. So a tour guide assumes they know more than anyone in the group. A tour guide has a pre-planned route of where everyone will go and how they'll get there. A tour guide has primary objectives and is there to lead and educate. A tour guide doesn't make space for whimsy, wonder, or genuine what the fucks. I love the genuine what the fucks, because what I mean by that is, like, you know, on Twitter, sometimes you see people who are like, when they enter into or they catch somebody doing something toxic, like, I knew the whole time that you were like this, or, you know what, like, you showed your true colors, you didn't play me, I clocked you from time, rather than just being like, wow, I didn't know you were capable of that. That completely blindsided me. Like, we're always trying to get a step ahead rather than just being like, I've been observing this entire time and I didn't see that coming. And I want those genuine what the fuck moments of like, that was shocking. You know, when you go on a vacation, you see them do something, they're like, that threw me for a loop. You don't have to have people figured out or pegged. And if you don't, that's okay. The best experts don't have everything always figured out. And I think that if you're trying to be the person who's always one step ahead, you actually end up missing out on a lot. Now, a tourist, on the other hand, is curious and not judgmental. A tourist is open to the possibility that people can see and experience things very differently from themselves without being wrong, right? A tourist can go to a country and see that they eat Twinkies with a spoon. And instead of being like, you eat Twinkies with a spoon, they're going to be like, oh, in this country, this is their custom. That's really interesting. And we do it differently in America or wherever else. You guys do it differently here. No one is right or wrong. It's just different depending on, you know, where they came up, what their experiences and what their cultural influences are. A tourist also takes time in new spaces, right? Like they take their time. They go to each site and they look around, they take pictures, they read the placards, like they absorb more and thus they gain more. The tourist also shares what they know and delights in what they don't. This doesn't mean that you have to deny your expertise or deny what you know. When you go to another country, you can say that what you've researched or understood, and you can ask extra questions. And the more that you know, the better, because the better your questions will be. So I'm not saying to go into this completely ignorant and blind. Like you can still exemplify your expertise, but doing it in a way where you still leave a door open for someone to say, well, I do things differently, and that to be okay. Now, how to be a tourist in the bedroom. So I'm gonna give you two different things. So these are the takeaways. So to be a tourist in the bedroom, be a dominant submission. I'm good with my hands. Where do I put them? Dominant. Here's what I'm great at. Submissive. Tell me what I do with it. Yum versus yuck. I love it when you give me a consistent rhythm versus why do you go all over the place? Like, why do you keep changing positions on me? So you can educate somebody on what it is that you like without having to highlight what you don't like. People often come to me like, how do I tell my partner that I don't like what they're doing in the bedroom? And my question always is, well, how often do you tell them what you do like? And I don't like, we think of communication so often in the lens of negativity. Like we have to communicate more usually means I have to complain more versus just in general all around. Like we just have to start creating a culture of communication. And so I think that you can just as easily tell somebody what you do like as what you don't. What is your favorite? So if you kind of want to just get the mood started, you know, what is your favorite part of sex, kissing, head, touch, etc.? I asked this question of Jared the other day, and he gave me some really insightful answers that I was like, oh, I didn't know that about you. And now I kind of know where to place the emphasis more. So, you know, constantly going back to those, even after you've been with a partner for a long period of time, I think you can be surprised by these open-ended questions. How does that sound? So you can tell somebody what you want, but still, again, leaving space for them to say yes or no. I want to take my fingers and put it in your X while doing Y while listening to Z. How does that sound to you? And the person can say that sounds really hot, or that sounds like something that maybe in the future I might be into, but right now it's kind of too much for me. And then finally, address and redirect. So a tourist addresses and redirects, right? So if you go to a country and they say, oh, at noon, we all spank each other. And you're like, oh, I don't want to spank each other. But you also don't want to be rude to that person's customs, right? We have this built-in sensitivity of this is a new country. I don't want to be disrespectful. So we would never say to that person, like, what a stupid thing to do. You spank each other at noon. Like, that's the dumbest shit I've heard of. We'd probably say to them, oh, it's really interesting. It's fascinating that you guys spank each other at noon. I don't think that's for me at this time. You know, what I usually do at noon is I have tea and I rest and take a nap. I might actually go do that right now. But I definitely will pop out and watch. So you can address what they do and redirect without having to put them down. To be a tourist in a romantic connection, I want you to do this. This is a very easy one that I actually employed in 2018, and I actually still mess up sometimes and have to correct myself. Switch that's weird, stupid, wrong with that's fascinating. Like, oh, you spank each other at noon. That's fascinating. You know, not that's weird or dumb or wrong. You're still in touch with your exes. That's fascinating. Tell me more. Without that judgmental attitude, we actually can get more information and thus make a better decision for ourselves. Switch out no, but with yes, and. You think I'm being unfair? Yes. And what would you like for more how, yes, and what would help me is more clarity around your intentions. So if you're in an argument situation, try and avoid the word no as much as possible, because you aren't denying somebody else's truth or experience. Because that's the advantage you're taking at this time. Saying no is not going to change their perspective. I'm talking specifically when you're in a, kind of like a heated debate. So if your partner says something that is not necessarily in line with what your beliefs are, rather than saying, no, you're wrong, you can say, yes, I can see how you may have come to that. And have you ever considered that my intentions had nothing to do with how you're feeling right now? All right. Knowing how to speak the basics, I think, is really, really important to being a tourist. Just like when you go to a new country, you probably learn like, hello, where's the bathroom? Where's the restaurant? How do I find my hotel? So when you meet a new person, you kind of want to learn their basics as well too, so that you can navigate around them. I believe that learning someone's love, apology, and attachment are the basics for all relationships. I actually try to find out when I enter into new work relationships what someone's love language is. So that is just me getting to a new country, wanting to be respectful and have a great time, and trying to get to the basic way that I can communicate best with them. And finally, find delight and whimsy in the little things. I love how you hold your fork. Who taught you? When we get into relationships and we start getting annoyed by our differences rather than fascinated by them, and we see our partner take off their clothes before the shower and throw it on the ground. I mean, they've been doing that for 28 years and it was fine in their old household or maybe where they lived. And so they developed a habit, and it doesn't align with your habit of putting it right in the hamper. And as much as you want to be like, you're a disgusting pig, why would you do that? Stop putting it there. You can also just be curious of like, oh, like, why do you put your clothes on the floor beside the thing? And they're like, oh, you know what? Because I usually just pick up a pile afterwards and put it downstairs and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, I can see where your train of thought is going. Like, let me try to find a compromise for us, but at least I got your perspective. It's just going to be received so much better. So those little differences, even as annoying as they are, just kind of find delight in them. They eat really crazy with their fork. They hold it like a caveman. Yes, you can be like judgmental of that, but you can also be playful about it. Secret number 2. I think this is a great cue. Oh, I love that you guys are chatting over there. I'm going to check in with you in a second. I promise. Really good question. Thank you. Some books you can try if you're interested to start out. The Power of Positive Thinking and The Secret. Oh, yes, I do. I have to read The Secret again. I read it very, very many years ago. And so I don't know if I still have like the most updated perspective on it. That's fascinating to me. Secret number 2 is acknowledging that the key to healthy relationships is not communication. So when you say the key to healthy relationships is communication, it's the equivalent of saying the key to good art is paint. Communication is the medium. It is not a skill set. Just communicating is dependent on how you do it, if it's going to be good or bad. Just like how you use paint can be beautiful or it can be disastrous. Paint can be used to destroy or it can be used to create something wonderful. Communication can be used in a great way and a not so great way. Not all communication is created equal. So I want you to think about communication as the door, right? That is the door to another human being, another individual. Communication is the door to them. Doing it strategically is the key. That's how you open the door to someone. It's how you get to know them more and understand them more. But when you do communication recklessly, that's how you form the lock. That's how you prevent yourself from actually seeing what's on the inside and being able to influence somebody and actually communicate with them impactfully. Good communication is less about what you say and more about what you want to accomplish, right? If that wasn't true, marketing wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar company. If we could all just go out there and be honest, then there wouldn't be this industry that exists that teaches people how to impactfully share their message. So why shouldn't you go through the same? I always like raise an eyebrow whenever someone says to me like, well, I'm just an honest person. I just tell it like it is. And they say it as if it's a virtue or a positive thing or a nod to what a great communicator they are. And to me, it's just like not an effective strategy. And in the game of desire, I use the analogy that honesty is to good communication what a putter is to golf, not what a bat is to baseball. Right? Like it's a putter is something that you use once in a while. It is a part of your toolkit. And there are times that you do have to be brutally honest with people. But if you're constantly doing that, my friend gave me this other amazing analogy. And he said that when all you have is a hammer, you think everything is a nail. So if all you know to be is completely brutally honest with people and you're going to address everybody in this sort of like direct way. So I would just encourage you to give yourself an extra 10 seconds before, especially when you're communicating around sensitive topics like love, sex, relationships, etc. Give yourself the benefit of like 15 seconds to be your own marketing expert of, okay, here's what I want to say, but here's what I want to accomplish. Is what I'm going to say based on what I know about this person going to bring me further to the goal of getting them to understand me, or actually further away from it? Closer, further was meant to say. So those extra little bits of just acknowledging not all communication is created equal, not all communication is good. It is a skill like making rice or anything else. And the more mindful you are about it, the better you will get. All right, so now I want to turn to you guys. What are some examples of good versus bad communication? So it would be right to communicate what you are you looking from, oh, maybe they're talking to you early now, talking to each other. So let me know, what are some examples of good versus bad communication in your books? But how do you stop from feeling fake? I don't know, fake is the truth, because again, like it depends on how you perceive. I want you to understand that your brain naturally thinks 70% negative thoughts all day long. And that is not an attack on you, Ryan. That is just the basis of survival as a mammal. You have to always be on alert. You have to always be critical, always be assessing. You know, if you watch a squirrel eat, you know, he's very nervous and looking around constantly. He's constantly judging and assessing. Like he has to be, the squirrel's male for some reason. The squirrel has to be very critical in order to survive. So our brains are hardwired to think of the worst case scenario, to think of the danger in things. And so if you allow yourself just to speak from the mind, let that run wild, chances are a lot of what comes out is going to be done in a negative way or in a defensive way. So that is why it's not about being fake. It's about being filtered and just about acknowledging that, hey, my first thought is not always the best thought. And my authentic self is something I choose. It's not a sentence that's placed on you. Good communication to me is honesty and allowing me to respond to your actions, words before you act on them. Bad communication is going into the conversation assuming the worst of a person. Agreed. Bad equals lacking compassion and being totally judgmental. Agreed, Jasmine. As an example of good communication is saying, hey, this is where I'm coming from, and I wanted to hear your perspective versus this is right. I love that, Emma. Fatima says, using always and never when expressing something you don't know or like that bothers you is an example of bad communication. Fatima, that I can just like honestly like amplify to the world. You will avoid so many stupid arguments by deleting the words always and never from your vocabulary. They're just not really useful, and it's never true. So that's a great point. Natasha says to actually listen and process before responding. I believe that so much too. I think that was something that Jared and I had to get accustomed to, is that I'm a very reactive person. And I grew up in a family, I'm from a Caribbean family with like a lot of quick tongues. Caribbean people can tend to be like very verbally harsh. So my natural response in conflict is to be really, really harsh with people. So I literally am best suited to be alone for 10 minutes first before I come to the table. Whereas for him, he's a really good communicator and he's very good at choosing his words wisely. He's honestly to God like a professional conflict resolution person, and he wants to engage with me right away. And I had to get to a space where I had to really explain to him, like, I know myself, I'm trying to improve this part of me, but if we force this communication right away, it won't be good. So like, please just give me a bit of time to choose my feelings and to choose my words and to try to think about how I can effectively communicate what I'm feeling without lashing out at you. Andrea says, I like the communication advice in Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. I love that. I love recommendations. I'm actually going to copy and paste that somewhere right now. Thank you for that. Bad, always saying stuff that someone wants to hear just to keep the peace. 100, yes. Bad communication robs people of the opportunity to improve, right? Bad communication is lying. It's sugarcoating. And there's a really great TED Talk, which I always highlight, of this guy who said he's a reformed nice person. And what he realized is that a lot of his niceness was actually rooted in neediness, that it wasn't that he was super kind. It was that he just desperately wanted people to like him so much, but he robbed them of the opportunity to actually gain something from the relationship because all he did was nod along. When they say, two heads are better than one, if you're just going to mirror what someone else says, like you're not actually contributing. So 1000%, I think bad communication is doing that. Bad is always saying yes to things, even if it's no, not what they want to say. Cindy, I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. Selena, the TED Talk is actually linked in a video called Why Nice People Finish Last on my YouTube channel. I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you want to find it, that's where I did link it. Bad is being hostile if someone doesn't agree with you. Yep. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, and yes. All right. Secret number 3. We are at the final one. Are we ready? Secret number 3 to gaining the confidence and competence in your love life is to employ the just add water technique. And what I mean by that is when you look at this recipe, when you get like a box of rice and it comes with the seasoning, it comes with the rice already, and it's like, just add water and you're done. It's like you already have, let me go to the next slide to explain. You already have all the main ingredients already. You know what I mean? Like all the really fundamental important stuff. You were born to bond. You are biologically driven to create relationships just the same way that we are born to nurture. When you have a baby, it's second nature to you. There's a lot of things that are just naturally programmed in us, and that even though you have all these fears, do I know the right things? Do I not? Most people, when they enter into motherhood or fatherhood, those things will just click into place. And so also acknowledging that, love is your gift, right? It is your superpower as human. I don't mean that in like a hokey, shitty way of like, we're all just loving Care Bears. I mean that in a sense of what makes humans so incredible is our ability to care for and work cooperatively together. It's no coincidence that all around the world that's consistent despite what the nurture is. That is to say, we are programmed to be great at this thing. Also, you're naturally empathetic. Once again, if you watch other mammals and their attitudes toward each other, they don't have not all mammals, some do, have the ability to feel pain for each other and to think about their fellow, I want to say man, but not all elephants call themselves man, to think about their fellow species mate. We have the ability to cry for somebody who we've never met before. We have the ability to hurt when somebody else does. And like, that is a gift that you are born with. That is something that you can naturally always tap into. And finally, you have all the main ingredients because you're here. Like you have already gone over the biggest hump, which is the denial of the educational flaw that exists that doesn't make space for conversations like these and the ones that you already create on your own platform and your own group chats. And so that is to acknowledge that all of the most important things that it takes to be good at sex, to be good at relationships, you're already equipped with. I am not asking you to throw out all the amazing things that you have and to rewrite the script for yourself. I'm just saying you might just need to add water. There's just one final bit that's going to really make things gel and come together. But the most important stuff, the hardest ingredients to source out, you got it. Relationships don't have to be hard. I think that what's great about the just add water mindset is, okay, all I got to do is think about what is the one thing that I can do to solve this conflict? What is the one thing I can do to initiate some type of sexual tension between me and this person? I'm already naturally sensual. I already am born to bond, all the above. All I got to do is think about what is that one more thing. And if you do it in that way, and I know that somebody earlier was saying they can't picture a life where their love life is their greatest accomplishment, is because you're kind of going on that whole 400-pound thing where you're like, Jesus, there's so many relationships I have to fix and there's so many problems and there's nothing is working out. And that's so overwhelming. But if you kind of took that around and said, all right, what is the one thing I can do in this moment that is actually going to make this what I'm looking for? And if you just kind of apply that as you go along and just simply add water to everything with that foundational belief that you already have the right ingredients, I just feel like it gets a lot simpler. Not that the work changes, but that your mindset changes, which makes the work joyful. Also, the just add water tip is also great for sex. You know what I mean? Sex is often better when it's wetter. I say often because some people enjoy the dryness of friction, but a majority of people like it better like when it's wetter, when there's more lubrication, there's more flow to it, when the oral sex is sloppy. And like if you're using any kind of penetrative objects or you're using penetrative sex, then like the wetter it is, the more smooth and the more flow that it is. So it's also another mindset of like, okay, how do we add water to the bedroom? whenever people ask me that question of like, how do I spice up the bed, my love life or my bedroom life? And they're trying to think of these really big things like trips to Cancun or like bringing in a threesome or like from now on, like we schedule, and not scheduling is not bad, but they try to think of these extreme ways to add something new to the bedroom where it's like, just add water, and water can be something different for everybody. Water might be rope to tie each other up. Water might be a red light bulb to change the mood. Water might be now we start having sex in different places of the house. Like just one simple thing. You have the things you need already. You've established that the two of you have chemistry, that you enjoy getting each other off, or the three of you, however many, etc. All the things you need are there. Just try to simplify and think of one extra thing you can add. So now I'm going to turn to you. What is one thing you have added to your intimacy game that has made an improvement? Whether it's in the bedroom or in a relationship, what is one thing that you can think of that you're like, oh, I did that and things actually started to really improve? I don't know if this is answering this question, Robin, but nonviolent communication would be one thing to add to make things better. Being vocal in the bedroom about my needs. Yes, Sabrina, I love that. A new bra, Camille, I totally feel you on that. Do you guys want to know what my one thing has been of late that has like really transformed my sexual experience? Shaving down my feet. Like I have really dry feet. I have dry skin in general, but my feet are so dry and like sometimes I would hear it scrape against the sheets and it would just bother me mentally every time that would happen. And so I just bought myself an Amazon toolkit and now I just shaved that bad boy down. I got this avocado oil. It's this one thing I did that's like made an impact. So I appreciate the new bra. Daniel says, honestly, just putting myself out there more. I love just. I don't like just sometimes when it's like, just be yourself. Just don't worry about it. When it's like, I just put myself out there. I just love that ease. Dominique says, speaking my feelings. Marina says, listen and listen well. Darcel says, taking 10 seconds to respond, AKA listening better. Ellie says, couples therapy. That is a beautiful one thing. Beautiful one, simple, accessible thing. Why not? Marina says, I get clarity on what I hear. Oh, how fucking golden is that, y'all? Sometimes you want to just jump on somebody and then be like, you think this, da, 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 da. And they're like, I didn't even say that. So like getting clarity on what you hear, especially if it didn't please you, of like, oh, so what I'm hearing you say is this. Am I right or wrong? Oh my gosh, you probably saved yourself so many arguments. Jasmine says, coming to the table already knowing that I'm worthy of love. Zuri says, being vocal about my needs. Dee says, polarity. And Muntaha. Let me know which one's right or if none are right. She said just cuddling. That's the one thing you can add to it to say like, hey, can we not rush out? I know we have a busy life, but I just kind of need 20 seconds or 20 minutes to just connect with you in that way. I love that. Tanisha says letting go of fear of rejection. That is a big one thing. That is a massively huge and amazing one thing. And that is something I was actually discussing with someone yesterday is when you stop kind of putting yourself all out there, you really never have to get rejected. You can make the first move and not get the result you intend. But I never lay out my cards for somebody for them to flat out be like, no, bitch. Like we'll never get to that point. I probably would have picked up that like, oh, this is not going the way that I intended, or they're not picking up what I'm putting down. Let me just kind of retreat a little bit. But ultimately, yeah, like what's the worst that can happen? So I love that. So Vanessa says, taking time to be in my solitude, funny enough, has allowed me to hear my needs. Absolutely. I think as much as we're talking about making space to hear and communicate to other people, we can totally apply those things to ourselves. And do we make the space so that we can actually understand our needs? Like, are we our own tourist? Are we our own person who still has curiosity about us? And when we start acting out or acting negatively, do we strictly go to self-criticism and self-hate? Or do we take a second to be like, why are we behaving this way? What's that about? Why are we holding our fork this way? Like, that's fascinating. Like, tell me more. So I think that that's a really, really beautiful point to think. And thank you for sharing that. I will actually add that to the next webinar that I do. What is the eye triangle? Somebody help Precious out. I wish we had a video I can put you guys on there. Still trying. I'm working on the mentality that I shouldn't take every failure personally. Yes, I 100% believe that. All right, so we are going to move on. This has been the 3 secrets to gain confidence and control in your love life. And because this is not a quiz, I'm gonna make it a quiz. Can somebody rhyme off what the 3 secrets were? Does anybody want to get a cookie? Do you know what the 3 secrets that we just discussed were? Quiz time. Yes, Gwen, it's quiz time. Communication, add water. You don't know shit. Yes, you don't know shit. Communication is not key in add water. Cindy, you win. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. You don't know shit. Always be a tourist, never a tour guide. As much as you can't possibly know all the intimate workings of a complete stranger or even of yourself. You have to always leave space for whimsy, for the unexpected, and remaining curious is massively important no matter how much education you have underneath you. The second one is communication is not the key to a healthy relationship. Effective communication, strategic communication, mindful communication, and people list a bunch of other great adjectives. That is actually the key. And finally, just add water, acknowledging that you are born with all of the most important gifts, and you have, through your work and expertise, picked up on the fundamentals of what it means to love and be loved in an impactful way that is going to make you proud of the life that you live. You already have those basics. All we're trying to do now is just add water. What is the extra tip, the extra thing, the extra exercise, the extra course that you could take on that is going to make the result what you're looking for? But you're doing amazing, and I'm really, really proud and in awe of you. All right, so all of this sounds kind of easy, right? We just add water, we communicate more compassionately, and we put ourselves in a position to always be the tourist. It sounds like simple tips. With that to be said, I want you guys to look at these two pictures, okay? And when you look at this picture, please tell me what you see. What jumps out at you? Struggle and easy. That's what Natasha said. Work smarter. Sade says force versus ease. Aisha says moving smartly. Angel. One guy made it easier for himself. And Alejandra said transformation. Selena says different mind frames. Yes. Janisha says someone has it easier than the other. Christy says progression. Maria says being effective. When I look at these two images, what I see is, well, why wouldn't that other guy just turn his shit into a cylinder too? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's looking back at him like, why don't you just make this into a cylinder? It'd be so much easier. But let's not negate the fact that who knows how to turn a solid block of wood into a circle? You need tools, you need to be taught, you probably need assistance to do that, you need time. And for a lot of people, slow motion is better than no motion. They would love to be pushing that circle. Don't get them wrong. There's not a single person who's saying, I want things to be harder. But we cannot negate the fact that not everybody has the tools to understand how to bring ease into their life. It's not as simple as turning a rect or a square into a circle. There is a process in play. There is mentorship that probably happened. That guy who's pushing the circle maybe had a father who helped him out, or a good crafts or woodsmanship teacher. He went to a school that had that. This other guy didn't. And so, yes, he'd love to push that circle, but he's never been taught how. And his best, in his mind, you know what? Sure, I can dream about pushing a circle, but I'm not going to get anywhere. So I would rather go centimeter by centimeter, trying to shove this block this way than just be at a standstill because I don't know what to do. And I want to introduce you to somebody whose name is Stephanie. And Stephanie, who's in India right now, shout out to Steph, is one of the 6 women that I worked with in the Game of Desire. And you might look at Stephanie, this is her before and after picture. She's when she came into the group, Steph had read more self-help books than anyone had ever met before. Like, she could just quote them off. All the ones you guys had listed, Steph has probably read. She's an Ivy League graduate. She came from a stable home. So why did Stephanie come to me? Why did she cite lack of confidence as her biggest issue? This is a person whom was taught a lot and told a lot. But in all honesty, she was never really showed a direct approach for how to make her square block into that cylinder. And that goes back to confidence is not a choice, it's a result, right? Despite the fact that she knew kind of what she wanted to do. She knew that, yeah, I want this square to be a circle. She didn't really know how to get there. And through that result, and that frustration of pushing that block for so long, it actually made her go through a lot of self-loathing. Rather than acknowledging that it's not her fault, that she just needed a strategy, she allowed that to make her problem even worse by losing all confidence altogether. So that is why I would like to be able to help you turn your square into a circle. And we're not doing that overnight. We're not just making a decision. We're not focusing our mind on making things more cylindrical in our lives. We're going to be shaving it away brick by brick. It's not a brick if it's a block of wood, dummy. We're going to be shaving it away lumber by lumber, little bit by little bit. We're going to be picking up the tools. We're going to be bringing in different craftsmen to teach us how to do that. We're going to be unpacking some of the pain that we may have had through pushing for so long, the exhaustion that you may have felt from pushing that square block. And it's going to take some time. But if we stop and we pause and we invest, even though we're not getting any progress maybe in that time that we're working on that thing, we're going to be able to excel so much further than we would have by continuing to focus on that square. And that is what we are here to do today. So I want to talk about you for a second. Now, before everyone starts running out of here, getting afraid, like this is the sales pitch moment, this is also a chance for me to learn from you and to gain more about what you would be looking for to turn that square into a cylinder. So please be here just to contribute because I really do want your input. All right, so you're incredibly busy. You made the time to come out here today because you know this is an area that you want to excel in. Thank you for that. You thought to yourself, I could just watch her free videos, but you know there's something different about being informed versus being taught. There's something very different about commenting in the comment section and hoping somebody will see and having someone sit there live who's actually talking back to you, reading and analyzing what you're saying. And like Stephanie, you've already put in the groundwork. Like you've already have the main ingredients there, but something is just not connecting the way that you want. You know, your intentions are there and you definitely have put in work. You're not the person who is starting from ground zero. You just need to add water, just something to make it flow a little bit more. Your intentions are impeccable, but your execution may be a little off. You want a life that lives up to your intentions. And again, that is a constant thing. You have to always work on that. Confidence is not a final destination. It is something that you are always going to have to strive for. There are times that my intentions and my expectations are perfectly aligned. And there's times when they're off. And that's always a call to action for me to see what can I do different. You've made amazing strides in your life. Like you're killing it. You know, if you scroll up and you read what people in this chat are doing with their lives, the work that they have impacted, like they have found their place in the system. They are thought leaders and contributors. And even though you have put in strides and you've seen a result in that area, maybe this is one area that you feel hasn't really kept up. And if you think about how much time you've spent on your education, 18 plus years, 22 plus years, to get to a space now where you can succinctly say what you do and what you excel at and where you want to be, why not think that maybe it's possible that you may have to give somewhat equal time to your love life if you also want to see that same result? You got to be around people who share your values and passion for healthy, better, and tailored to you intimacy. It's kind of rare to be in a group that we're in right now. These, again, 192 people who are sitting in front of us right now. This is special. There's not a lot of people who are prioritizing this and making the time on their Sunday, their day off, to learn and to be educated in this way. This is a special group of individuals. And the reason why, I admit the Game of Desire was so effective for the people that I worked with was a little bit to do with me, but a lot more to do with their relationship to each other. Actually, yesterday when I did that video about my response to the reel, my phone buzzed and someone was like, oh, who texted you during this video? It was my group chat with the women in the book. Like we continue to share together. One of the girls showed us this person that she's really crushing on who lives abroad. And like we were talking about strategies in there. And so that conversation of people who emphatically love and love talking about it and want to positively uplift each other, like that's actually pretty rare to find. And you can make friends on many different reasons. Same religion, same TV shows you like. Maybe you guys went to the same school, so you have the same area of study. That doesn't mean they share your maturity and your mindset when it comes to this space. And that's why it's important to surround yourself with like minds in this way as well. You're ready to make intimacy your superpower. You are curious how it can improve every area of your life. And I can't tell y'all how much a better love life has enriched and informed every fiber of my being. I am so much better with love than I am without love. And even though my love life takes up a lot of time, I spend a lot of time with my partner and I want to be my partner a lot, that energizes me to actually be better in every area. I think my family would attest that my relationships are better with them because of my relationship with my partner. I think that my work clearly has massively improved because I have found a partner who gives me ease, joy, a reset, and someone to bounce things off of. So I want you to understand that I'm not asking you to stop focusing on your other goals in life. I'm not saying those aren't valid. I'm saying that excelling in this area is going to make an impact on all the areas that matter most to you. All right, so maybe you read The Game of Desire, and if you haven't, please do that. That'd be nice. But if you've checked out the book, you kind of watched and you're like, oh, it was cool to read about it, but I actually kind of would want a similar experience as the women featured in the book. Like I would want to be going through this with friends. I would want more activities. Like on Goodreads, one of the comments about the book was the best part to them was the workbook. Like there's always different people who have it different ways. Some people love the stories. Some people were like, I wanted more activities. Like, where were the quizzes? Like, that was my favorite part. So if you're looking for that, kind of like more activities, more step by step, you don't just want to read about something, you want to directly know how to take that information, how to practice it, and how to expand on it so that it turns into a habit. That is what I'm offering to you. All right, so after today's webinar, you got two choices. You can continue to consume my work on content for free, which first of all, fucking thank you. You know what I mean? Every single time somebody clicks on this webinar or my video or anything else, you are choosing not to watch Oscar award-winning films. You are choosing not to watch incredible documentaries. Like your time is so valuable. If you chose to read my book, you chose not to read Great Expectations or any Toni Morrison book that's amazing. Like your free time is so, so valuable. So I'm not throwing that away to say like, well, you can just keep watching my videos, you cheap hoe. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. Thank you for doing that. I love the work and I stand by the work that I do online. And if that's enough for you, I'm on board with that. Thank you. On the flip side, if you resonate with what I said before, if you're looking for community, if you're looking for more teaching and less just informing, if you are looking for an opportunity to connect with like minds and to get activities that are catered towards each step of turning that square into a circle, that is what I'm offering to you. So you're officially invited to Desire U, and Desire U stands for Desire University. It's not a university, let's just be clear, but it's kind of a play on an educational term. Also too, Desire U is just, desire the life that you want, desire yourself. This is a play on words, a play off the book, but it is my new courses that I am offering to people to give them more. If the free content is great, but they need something more, that is what this new business arm is for me. All right, so Desire U is an implementation program of its kind that not only shows you exactly how to name and claim your desires from the relationships to the boardroom to the bedroom, but it also teaches you the step-by-step process of turning your wants and needs into your lifestyle. We're going to go through the book in the exact same way, but expand out each and every single step. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is you're going to know yourself. So we're going to go through all of the nits and grits. 10,000 people have finished the workbook, but you have done that and entered it into a vacuum. Nobody has read it. Nobody has corrected you. Nobody has given you tips on how to create your how to love me list or what things you should add or subtract. So if you've done the work and now you're like, what now? That's what I'm talking about. All right, so here's a 7-week training program. This is the slide I actually wanted. So orientation, that begins in January when the course begins. And so orientation is about clarity. We're gonna just establish your desires and goals. I'm gonna get to know you, get to know your individual goals, figure out how we can tailor the program best for you. Week 1 is to know. You're gonna learn the keys to communication. Like I said, communication at the key to relationships, healthy communication, effective communication, and that's what we're gonna focus on for know. What exactly does that mean? What are the specific tips and strategies, kind of what we went through with the slide, almost like brick by brick, how do I become a better communicator? And a big part of communication is knowing what you want to say and having the language to describe very complex parts of yourself. Week 2 is to change. It's the art of the glow up. That's why I'm going to bring in a bunch of experts, kind of the same way as the book, just to give you some tips on really how to reinvigorate change into your life. As you learn things about yourself through Know, you now need to find practical ways to reframe bad habits or form new good habits. And that's what that's all about. Week 3, again, I'm going to bring in some more of my favorite experts from the book so you can get these one-on-one videos with them and really view in real time. Like they're all truncated, very small in the book itself. And so this is an opportunity to actually ask those expert questions. I'm going to bring in also a body language expert, which is new. That was not in the book at all. Just so you can start to learn better practices for making better connections. Week 4 is reading week. That is your time to absorb. I'm going to be collecting reading materials from you guys. So please do include if you have any, but also I'm going to give you all of my favorite books, all of my favorite TED Talk links, all of my favorite different things that are free that you can use to just kind of fill yourself up. If you can't complete it in the week, it will definitely last you at least 2 years. Week 5 is to practice. And that's where it's going to be like the book. You're going to be sent out on assignments. You're going to be sent out to journal. If you did the 5-day flirting challenge, that's kind of practice. We really skipped ahead of the other steps. That's where you learn about eye triangling, or you learn about new techniques I'm going to bring in, just like the book. And with your group of individuals, with that shared accountability, you guys get to learn from each other. And week 6 is become, and that's really about giving you the tools to teach and pass on to others. This is where I'm going to really talk to you about the skills that I have learned as an educator and how you can go forward again to become the intimacy expert in your group of friends and beyond if you want to. All right, so the Complete Desire You course, like this is the option 1. This is the DIY experience. This is for the busy person who doesn't necessarily care about the community part or the groups, and just kind of wants the videos and the training modules. You want to see the expert interviews, you want the different activities, and you want to know all the books and resource groups. And maybe you want to pop in once in a while to chat, and we're going to have a private members only Facebook group, which will not be dissimilar from what we have right now here. And that's what you're looking for. That's option 1. Let's get past that. Oh, it's important to note too, if you do the work and you're not satisfied, you can get your money back in 14 days. If you're listening to this and thinking to yourself, well, I've already done the work in this way, like how do I've already read the book, I'm not seeing a big difference. You can gladly get a refund, but I'm promising you it is an extremely different experience. Not only is it new material, but it's enhanced information for you. And the experience of working alongside others is going to massively and drastically change what you're able to take out, absorb, and apply to your life. So the Complete Desire You course, option 2, which is the premium coaching experience. That's where you're getting a little bit less of the DIY and more like, give me your hand, let's do this together. So you still get the 7 training, blah, 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 but you're also going to get organized into groups just like the book. So you're going to have groups of 5 people. It might be people all around the world, but you're going to know their name, know what they do, know where they are in their progress. You guys are going to be each other's Courtney, Deshawn, Priscilla, and Maya, and Charisse. You're going to be each other's like core group members in that way. You're going to have weekly live coaching from me in this way that we're having right now, and get personalized feedback. You're also going to have a signed copy of the book. And in your organized groups, you're going to have weekly meetings with the group. So you'll have meetings like this that are broad and big. There will never be more than 70 people in the chat. Right now there's 171. There'll never be more than 70 people who are in the weekly chats where I'm just going to be like, all right, assignment 1, how was it for you? Tell me, let's talk about it. But in addition to having those, I'm going to also set up so you guys can have smaller chats with just your group of 5, and I will come to one of your smaller chats. I will pop into one of them so that, again, it's just going to be me and the 5 of you together. All right, so option 1, which is the DIY one, which is not anything else other than just like, okay, I want the information, I want all of the guidance, and I will get in where I fit in. I just don't have the time necessarily to immerse myself in this small group of 5 and to be chatting with people daily. That is the one that is for $149, but the cost in 2020 would be $199. I believe Gwen also has a code that she is sharing out that is cheaper for this. Cheaper, I've learned, is not a good word, but less expensive, so you can get that now. Option 2, which is the smaller groups, the more live coaching with me showing up to your group of 5, just a bit more accountability, less DIY and more hand holding. That one is $399. We'll go up to $500 in 2020, but also we have a 20% off code if you are in this webinar right now. All right, so this is how you can get started today. Now, here's the thing though. I am actually going to push the course back. In full disclosure, what I really want to do is spend December really building this to be as beautiful and as incredible as it can be. January, I want to focus on getting the word out there in a more meaningful way. And I want to start around the Valentine's Day. This is why I'm not doing any more webinars after this. So what I actually want to do with anybody who is willing to sign up early and sign up now is I want to use you as a focus group, and I want your input on what experts you want to hear most from. You guys are actually going to be invited to live view some of the tapings as well too, so that you can ask questions real time. So it's really more of like an immersive experience that nobody else will ever get, because once the course is built, it's going to be there forever. But if you want to get engaged now, like I just want to engage you in the entire process. But in full disclosure, if you want to come in January, I will see you then. I will be so joyful to have you. Um, so the early group access is really about that. It is just, again, it's more access than anyone else is going to get probably ever. And it's more opportunities to make sure that you can shape the way that this course is made to reflect what your needs are. Now, before I go, I actually want to skip through all these slides because we're at the end of time. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Can I use you now and your 161 beautiful faces? Thank you for staying till the very end. Can I use you to ask if this is a course that is based on the book, The Game of Desire? And The Game of Desire is all about how do I set myself up for a foundation of a love life that I desire? How do I work on me? How do I work on the skills necessary? How do I learn good techniques? How do I apply them real time? And how do I then teach other people? That's what I'm saying is a basis. What would you like to learn? What kind of experts would you like to see? What for you would make that worthwhile of your investment of your time? How do you tell someone you have no, oh, I lost that question. I'm sorry. Hi, Tanisha. Oh, there's even more chats going on. How to conquer fear. How to get from fuck buddies to a life partner. Okay, that's interesting. I like Dominique. I'll figure out a way to build that in. I mean, it's led by intentions, but I'll write that down. Is this just valid for someone in a relationship as it is to someone single? I absolutely think so. I mean, if you kind of go through the tools, and maybe you want to wait until we have the full sales page up where you can see the breadth of the course and it will be more outlined for you there. But I absolutely do believe that this is just about becoming a superb connector. And becoming a superb connector, a byproduct of that is being better at dating, but there's so many different ways that you can utilize that talent. Learn to be truly seductive. Love. Okay, I understand that 100%. So kind of like really a broken down, like in the book, I really rush through the different ways that you can seduce, but maybe there has to be like really more applied, maybe an example of each kind of seducer, like somebody who's charismatic, an interview with them, somebody who really does exude the star quality factor. Like maybe you kind of just need even more in depth. Should we get help with trauma before entering Desire You? Yes, Vanessa, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist in that way. And that is important to really acknowledge that you sometimes can't move forward until you address what's behind you. And that takes a level of intimacy and of care from somebody who is completely responsive to you and understands what you're going through that I cannot provide and probably won't be providing to this course. So absolutely, if you feel like you need to work on that part of yourself first before you're ready to move forward and add new tips, it's really just about getting to a space where you can accept what happened behind you. I completely support you in that. After Desire, is there any how to make a long-term relationship healthy? Attract a truly meaningful. I love this question. Let me read it. Attract a truly meaningful and fulfilling relationship instead of settling for what is available. Yes, Candace, I'm going to write that down. That's a great intention. Thank you. Yes, Tay, The Art Seduction is an incredible book. I also recommend The Laws of Human Nature. It's a long ass book, but it's the best book I've ever read in my entire life. Secure attachment. Ooh, I love that, a suggestion. Thank you for that. All right, what is a discount code? These are questions I don't know. How to help late bloomers overcome the stigma of being a late bloomer. Lauren, that's really great. Did you actually know that in the book, Stephanie, for example, is somebody who identifies as a late bloomer. So you might read the book and really identify with her. Big Q, how do you tell someone you have no experience whatsoever? Yes, that's an awesome question and a really easy one to answer. I think some of these too, like, what's the joy, I think, of getting to do this together? Like, there's some of your guys' questions that I could probably answer for you and give you like to just add water strategy right now. And some of them need something longer. Ellie, the improv expert, is a really great suggestion. So really, really, really good suggestion I never actually even thought of before. So thank you for that. Okay. I'm actually going to call Gwen right now and see if it's okay to, I know there's a lot of people still have questions. Gwen, do you think it's okay for us to wrap now to give people their Sundays so they can go and get their mimosas and their football on? Or do we want to keep this open so we can continue to ask the question? All right. So yes, so we're going to wrap out of this. And I just want to say, thank you for spending your Sunday with me. This was such a true joy, and I had such a great time connecting and learning from you. I'm going to actually stop the chat and then just read through all of your guys' stuff, or stop the live event so that I can start reading. So if there's anything that you want to sneak in there right now that you want to ensure that I look at, please slide it in right now, because I am going to go back and read everybody's stuff. But I do want to release you. Class dismissed. This was awesome. I got so much from this, and you're so loving and great. And great idea to hop up, but keep checking in. And that's what I will do. All right. Happy Sunday. Goodbye, Maria. Bye, Precious. Bye, Prever. Bye, Sarah. Bye, QC. Bye, Natasha. Bye, Patria. Bye, Alex. Bye, Sarah. Bye, Aleja. Bye, Rianne. Bye, Edna. Bye, Maria. Bye, Sermat. Bye, Kyle. Bye, Shayna. Bye, Elizabeth. Bye, Ravion. Bye, Angel. Bye, Neela. Bye, Bryn. Bye, Tanisha. And bye, Felisa. It's the best way. It's probably not Felisa, it's Felisa, but Felisa sounds like Felicia. So bye, Felisa.